And we're live.
Are we really live?
No. But we're recording, so.
So set us up.
All right, so can you hear me?
Let me make sure. Go ahead.
All right, so we are on our way to grab a cup of Joe, and I really like doing like the drive podcast because it's like change of scenery, you know, so it's a lot of fun, and it's the last day of the year, which there's a lot of, I don't know, the feeling that I always get with the last day of the year is that anxiousness of like, get everything done, and then, you're like, okay, cool. How are you feeling?
About the year?
About like the end of the year, like the end of the year.
I am feeling, I guess, bittersweet, you could say. I feel good, so much to be grateful for, so I hate to like ever bring any kind of, any kind of things that are not just, that doesn't come from just being grateful, but at the same time, I just have a lot of things that I want to do differently this upcoming year, and I'm coming to that realization, within, pretty recently. Had a time to reflect on it, reminisce about the year, and I'm super grateful for all the things that have happened, but I really want next year to be different in so many ways, where I could feel at the end of the year a little bit more fulfilled, I guess, personally, not just, and I don't mean just in the business, I think that's the one thing I want to change going forward, is that it's not just the business that fulfills me. There's also personal goals that I want to make for myself, because even though business is doing great and everything like that, you still want to have these personal goals that you set for yourself, and that also make you feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where I am with the end of this year, like feeling super grateful, like, my God, we've accomplished a lot of things. The business is growing, but I also want to make sure that Manny's growing too.
Yeah, and I think that's, I feel like always doing like self-reflective, journaling, or just, doing that, like taking moments to like self-reflect, to basically be like, how can you, or what is going to make you feel better, or those are all things that like we should all be doing on a daily basis. It's like really like taking that moment at the end of the day to really like be honest with ourselves, because the reality of it is that if you're not being honest with yourself, with what's going to make you happy, what's going to make you feel fulfilled, all that kind of stuff, it's never going to be enough. And I feel that with all the stuff, right, like, all kinds of different like platforms, social media, all that, it's like they give us like this illusion of what we would like to do to make us feel happy and whole, but it's like the reality of it is like the honesty of like what would make you feel happy and whole. Like for me, like I think about that all the time, where I'm like, what would make me feel like really happy and whole, and really diving into that kind of world, because it's like, yes, the reality is that it's like, the business is doing good, where it could be doing better, we'll always put like time and energy into that, but there are other things where, me as like a person, like I would like to do, where I feel that it would just make things, relationships with other people, relationships with like you, relationships with like ICE, all that kind of stuff, it would just make it better. So if we really like just focus on ourselves, like, and really focus on like those things where it's like, hey, this is something that I want for myself, like everything else aligns, but the core thing about it is that it's that honesty of like being honest. Like we all think that like, oh, if I had, all this like money and all this thing and all this, it would make me like feel like so much happier. But it's like the reality of it is that it's like, we all have different things that would make us happier, and so
that doesn't just have to do with, is the business doing great this year, or how is the business doing? You know, there's things outside of that, and really coming to a realization to that at the end of this year, because it feels like, at least since 2020, since we both are doing Sew Loka full time, that has been literally our only focus for the past few years, and rightly so. I mean, we had to like fight for our lives to keep this business alive and to keep it growing, you know. So it does take a lot of attention to it, you know, for a business to actually keep going and to keep evolving. Like, you have to give it a lot of attention.
Yeah.
But what I'm seeing, especially after 2023, we put 100% of our attention in the business, and at the end of the year, do you really feel fulfilled wholly? No. I mean, I'm speaking solely for myself, that I do feel when I look back at, like, damn, we did 5 events, or we did all this stuff, and I look back at the pictures, I'm like, oh wow, you know, that is an accomplishment. Like, we did that shit.
Yeah.
But there's also, like I said, it keeps coming back to these personal goals that I have never even said out loud. I don't really think about that much, and it's like, those are the things that, if those are not fulfilled as well, there is going to be no full happiness.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, like, I feel like this podcast is like one of those kind of like podcasts where it's like, it's ending at the year, so, you know, I'm not like a big person where I'm like, oh, it's the beginning of the year, and, you know, New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. Like, I don't really believe in New Year's resolutions. Like, I feel like, well, someone's calling.
Oh, Eddie, hold on. What? Eddie.
Come on, brother.
What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, Eddie, you're on the podcast.
We're on the we're recording live right now.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's okay. You're on the podcast.
Oh, all right. Real quick. Well, we're gonna go to the. So for tonight, I'll be quick. Outback, the Outback Steakhouse in Plaza Bonita. If you guys want to join us for dinner there, I invited the guys and stuff. But and then whoever wants to come over to the house after, be more than welcome.
Cool. What time is that?
We're gonna meet there at 5:00.
5:00. How do you feel?
Cool.
Cool. So you're cool with us coming?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I'm telling you. Yeah.
Ah,
that's what I'm letting you guys know. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I was like, let me call you instead of texting you. It'd be easy for me.
I actually love Outback, so yeah, we'll definitely we'll be there.
Okay, cool. So then we'll see you guys there. It's the one in Plaza Bonita at 5:00.
Hell
awesome.
Yeah.
We'll see you there.
We'll see you there. Thank you, Eddie.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. We'll see you guys soon.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye. That's the kind of impromptu stuff that happens when you're doing a podcast in the car.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's a call. But I was saying that it's like, for me, like, I'm not a big person where it's like New Year's resolutions and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's not who I am. But I do like to, like, set goals, you know? And it's not just goals where it's like, oh, this is like a goal, you know, for like the year. It's like, it's a goal for like the week. It's a goal for like a month. It's a goal for, you know, personal growth. It's like, you know, things that, you know, would make you feel a little bit more fulfilled. So it's like, for me, like, really stepping into like this kind of like space, especially, you know, I like to do like a journaling kind of thing where it's like, I write down all the things that, you know, that like I would want, and that, you know, just kind of like a basic journaling of like how I feel and all that kind of stuff. And so I thought it would be really fun to share some of this information, because I did, you know, when I do my own like journaling and stuff like that, there isn't like a guidance or anything. I just kind of like write stuff down. But I found this this kind of like a template, and there was like a few questions on there, and I was like, wow, these are great questions. And it's it really allows for you to basically think about it in these kind of like questions. So do you want to start to jump into that, or do you have anything else you would like to say?
Well, so basically there's questions that you came up with, or can you explain that to me again?
So basically, I didn't come up with these questions. I was basically one night, you know, scrolling through Instagram, and I saw like this, story, and it was like these are kind of like questions that we go through as a couple, to basically to go into the new year, they're very general kind of questions. It asks about like goals and things like that, and so I was like, oh, these are great questions, so I was like, we should definitely utilize some of these questions to basically to just question ourselves and what we would like for 2024, but also like reflecting on like what 2023 was for us, because I do think that 2023 was a great year. There was a lot of amazing opportunities, amazing experiences, a lot of really cool things that happened in 2023, but there was a lot of also like life lessons, and so life lessons, obviously, if you can't take anything away from like that life lesson, it's gonna always come back and like haunt you. So it's those kind of questions where it's like, hey, what was great and what memorable, all those kind of things, what were like some life lessons in 2023, what were things like that. So
okay,
that's kind of what the Q&A is for today.
Okay, perfect. Well, start us off.
All right. So in 2023, Manny, what was your most memorable moment / takeaway?
A lot of memorable moments, but I'm probably gonna pick something more recent because it's on the top of my mind.
Yeah.
It's something that happened a few weeks ago. I think, during the fashion show, when we premiered the videos and we had the audience and everything like that, I think to me that was a life moment right there, where I was like, oh my God, like it was just awesome, first of all, to see a video project that we collaborated on with a bunch of different local artists in San Diego, like just come to fruition. Like something was started, it was worked on, it was completed, and that it was screened in front of a live audience. And that was definitely a moment for me, and a moment that I want to repeat. It was a moment where I felt really, 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 really great, and I was like, I just wanted to hold on to that little moment forever, because just watching people watch something that you had a part in, was something. It's a feeling that I hadn't felt before, and it was a feeling that I want to feel again. And those are part of the personal goals that I want to make in the new year, to be like, how do I recreate an experience like that? Like, how can I make sure that something like that happens again and I'm a part of something like that? And that's what I mean, that it's not necessarily, it has to do with our business, it was part of the fashion show, but it is also more of a personal goal, like stuff that, oh shit, this is what I'm passionate about. Like, I almost forgot about that, like I am passionate about the business, sewing, everything like that. I'm passionate about making this business successful. Yes, but there is a feeling that I got when watching that video with an audience that I've never felt before. And it's like, how do I feel that again?
Yeah.
I want to feel that again.
I love that. I think that that's a good, memory and takeaway. And it's also like a really good, solid goal to basically be like, hey, because it's like, for me as like your partner and like someone that like constantly sees you, working on these things and, writing out like all this, writing out like the whole entire like plan of like how it's gonna go down and all that kind of stuff. It's like, I know that there's a lot of like work that goes into it, but it's like, these are the things that like I obviously want to support, because it is like, I feel like the business is like one of those kind of things where it's like, okay, cool, like we have to do it, this and that, but it's like, what is going to be like fulfilling, and what's going to be like that's going to light up your soul, and what's going to be the fun project. And I feel like that for you is like that fun project of like, hey, let's make this into like a really fun experience, and also like being able to showcase it. I know that you're a little bit more of an introvert and a little bit, I wouldn't say shy, but more, like more introvert, but it's like, I would like for you to like really step into yourself and give yourself that that feeling that you need to feel complete and as like a as a creative and as an artistic person, you know, and I would like to see you step into that a little bit more this year. So
Same. Yeah. No, that's definitely one of my personal goals. I know we'll talk about it coming up, but that is the introversion, everything like that. I want to understand it, but I don't want to use it as an excuse of why I can't do things or get out of my comfort zone or network more or just collaborate more.
Yeah.
You know, I am super introverted. I have really crippling social anxiety, but you know what? There's tons of people who've had those exact same afflictions and have actually used it to their advantage. They've used it for fuel and all this stuff. They've turned their negatives into positives. They've flipped obstacles into opportunities. And it's like, that is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to just use it as a crutch, like, oh, I'm introverted. There's an excuse why I never leave the house or anything like that. No, I've got to push myself out of the comfort zone because, like I've said a million times, these personal goals, all these stuff, they never go away. Yeah. So it's like, I don't want to be older and unfulfilled and bitter and angry at the world and all this other stuff, because the truth is I've had a ton of advantages in this life, ton of privileges, you know, so there really should be no excuse for me to not fulfill these goals or not try to or not fucking just do it and not have all these excuses come my way. Like, I'm tired of the excuses.
At least the try, you know, because it's like, the reality is that it's like, at least try.
Well,
like,
wait.
There's so many.
No, Yoda said, do or don't do. There is no try.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't want to just try.
I don't know
like,
if
to
I'll
me,
take,
that's
like,
not...
Yoda as like a quoted person.
I'm not even a Star Wars person, but I'm just saying, like, I don't want... For me, yes, trying is the first step, but it almost, trying in a way almost gives you a wiggle way out too, you know? Like, I want to fucking do it.
Yeah,
I want to
but
fucking do it.
So anytime anyone comes into the sewing studio, and I say this all the time, right? And I had a student yesterday, and they did fucking amazing. And, you know, I think that the people always go into the studio and they're intimidated because it's like they have to sew in front of like someone that knows how to sew, you know? So it's like, then they're like, you know, they have to, you know, cut, and and they're like, oh, it doesn't look perfect and this and that. And I always say, the question is have you ever done this before? And they're like, no. And I'm like, why are you expecting perfection? And then they're like, oh. And then I'm like, why would you expect to be perfect with something that you've never ever done before in your life? You know, it's like, perfection will come in time, but it's like, that's like such a debilitating kind of like mentality to basically be like, oh, I have to be very good at something that I've never done ever before, and I expect not to fail, and I expect not to do any of these kind of things. And it's like, no, it's like, allow yourself to explore that and allow yourself to basically be like, hey, you know what, that didn't work, but maybe I should try this other thing. Because it's like, there isn't in life, there isn't like there isn't these things where people are like, hey, this would make life easier. You know, we don't share that kind of stuff. Like, we don't want for it to be easier. We want for you to go through it and to go through it in like this kind of way. And if you can't go through it this kind of way, it's not good enough. And so for me, I you know, I always have that freaking talk with them. I'm like, I'm not expecting perfection from you. I want you to have a good time. And changing that perspective to where it's like, hey, you know what? Whistle while you work. Shit that we want to get done, that needs to get done, is gonna get done, but it's like, it's only gonna get done if it's enjoyable. So it's like, turn that mentality into like a more enjoyable experience, and like, don't take yourself serious, because it's like, you know, it's like, you know, there's so many people that have similar personalities, you know, where they're like, oh my god, I'm like, I don't want to be around people, or people make me feel this kind of way, or people, you know. And it's like, really like changing that like mentality into like a mentality of like, you know, like, how could we flip it, as opposed to like, it's scary, you know what I mean? So do you want to know my takeaways or
I'm
best
interested.
memories?
I'm interested.
Let me see. I think my takeaway for 2023 was definitely like living in the moment and really like making it into like a thing where, you know, like life is short, like live it up right now, you know, like go into it with like joy and like just have fun. Like life's too freaking darn short, you know. And it's like, and for me, like I always think about like, I always think about it in this kind of way, like I did not wake up today to be mediocre. Like I didn't. Like I woke up today and I want to live like this freaking insanely beautiful life. Like I am a very emotional person where it's like, you know, and I'm grateful for that, where it's like if I see something that's like extremely beautiful, I get emotional and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But it's like I want to live a life that's very fulfilling, that, you know, where I get to inspire people, where I get to, you know, do things that I'm like, how the hell did I end up doing this one thing, you know? So for me, like I really want to stay on like that path of just having a very memorable life and being able to document this very memorable life, because it's like for me the documentation of like my life is very important, because, you know, the documentation of like, you know, my ancestors doesn't exist. And so for me, like I feel like I am at that point where it's like it is not just for me, but it's like it's for my ancestors, it's for, you know, the future of, you know, my kids, you know, if that ends up being something. But it's just something where, you know, I get to tell this story of my life, and I feel like I'm very, you know, blessed with a lot of opportunities, and I, you know, I want to continue to live a very meaningful life. And I feel like one of the best memories in 2023 was, you know, having my mom come down. Look at that chair, that's a nice chair.
Is it free?
I think it is free. We're not taking it. But you know, being able to like have my mom come to like the art show, and like getting to witness, you know, all these, you know, like the this whole fashion show and all that kind of stuff. I think for me that was like that was one memory where I was like, oh shit. And to like have that experience where it's like my mom, you know, I've always wanted validation from my mom, for her to be like, I'm proud of you. And it's like, what do you do when you receive the validation that you've always needed as like a little kid, as an adult, as all that kind of stuff? It's like you could either take it and basically be like, I'm done, I don't have to fulfill this anymore, or you could run with it and like continue to grow. And so my goal is to continue to grow and take that as like an opportunity to basically just you know, like to catapult me into like the next chapter of my life. So I'm grateful that my mom was there, and that, you know, my sister and my brother-in-law were there, because it was a very amazing opportunity for me to have my mom there. And, you know, it meant a lot to me. So
It was a beautiful moment.
yeah. And so the next question,
And we're pulling up at Better Buzz right now. We just arrived at Better Buzz in Point Loma. We're currently on the drive-through, about 2 cars away.
yeah, so the next question is least favorite things / life lessons, which is we's about to get very vulnerable.
Least favorite things.
Least favorite things. Do you want me to go first,
Yeah, you
or what
go
do you?
first.
So my least favorite thing is taxes.
Oh, wow.
No one wants to talk about that shit. Taxes are a fucking bitch. And it is, you know, it's like, especially like as an artist and as a small business and all that kind of stuff, it's like, it is one of those things where you're just kind of like, you know, and having to like, you know, basically, you know, figure all that kind of stuff out. It's like, it's not a favorite thing, but it's like, it is one of those things to me, like the life lesson and the takeaway is like organizing your money, like organize it, because it's like there's such a negative like thing tied to like money, and like money's like such a dirty thing. Everyone's like, oh, money's such a dirty thing, but it's like, it's not. It's a resource. And it's like, if we have money, like how could you utilize that to like get to the point that you need to be at, and how could you utilize like those funds in order to like what would be a great investment, and like just being responsible with that, because it's like I've always been really really good with budgeting and doing all that kind of stuff, and to be completely honest, like I don't think I have been in like the last few months. So it's like really wanting to get like back into that, and like really like budgeting and setting like financial goals is like something that really like gets me excited and motivated for 2024.
100%. And that actually was my least favorite thing as well, taxes. Because I feel like we got a gut punch this year. It was a wake-up call. It was something that I think would have probably crushed a lot of businesses, and I know it almost did us. To be continued. Do you think now is a good time to talk quickly about Magic Mind?
Yeah, I think it's a perfect time because we're talking about being emotionally, spiritually, and physically there. So I think it's a perfect time to talk about that.
There you go. And remember, Magic Mind.
Yes.
We talked about it on the last podcast, but we've been trying it for the last few weeks.
Yeah.
It's going to be available in Sprouts starting January.
Yep.
So New Year's resolutions, try some Magic Mind.
Try some Magic Mind. I seriously, like, I don't know. I like to wild out in the morning, so if I'm going to take shots, it's got to be Magic Mind. It's so good.
And Magic Mind definitely should have been a sponsor of the fashion show, because there was a lot of Magic Mind consumption going on during the fashion show, like basically leading up to the fashion show, finishing up all those outfits, using, staying productive during that time.
Having something where it's like in the morning you take it and you're just kind of like, whoa, it wakes you up. It makes you feel like you're in this mode of like, I could freaking focus and I could like get things done. It's like, it's such an amazing feeling. So,
and if you want to try Magic Mind, we have a discount code for you.
Yep.
You can go to magicmind.com/skillspaybills.
Mm-hmm.
You can order your Magic Mind, use the discount code PAYBILLS20, and get 20% off your total order.
Try it. You ain't got nothing to lose.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And it'll be in Sprouts, too, if you want to try it in Sprouts. But if you don't want to pay full price, use our discount code PAYBILLS20, magicmind.com/skillspaybills.
And maybe we could take shots in the morning and wild out.
Let's all take shots together.
Yeah. Shots.
Yeah, so just being super honest about it, not trying to, like, hide it or anything, because I think it could help other people as well, because we get so stuck in this mode of, being artists or being just making cool shit. Like, that is the fun part about it. But if that's all it took to run a business, everybody would run a business.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is what the issue was, is that we were just having so much enjoyment with everything, and give me 1 second, guys. Sorry to keep the keep the anticipation going here. But, that was definitely one of the least favorite things about the year, but at the same time. Yes. Thank you.
You need straws and napkins?
No, we're good. Thank you. Just bear with us a second, guys. We're getting the coffee right now, thinking about taxes. I know you guys, and nobody wants to hear too much about this, but I promise you.
You definitely.
But you do.
Yeah.
You do. If we can save you a little bit of heartache, that would be worth everything.
Mm-hmm.
And to let you know that if things happen that seem like they're crushing you, that there is also there's another side to it where you can basically turn something that's bad into good. There's a life lesson in there. This was a huge life lesson this year, but it was a lesson that will keep us prosperous in the future years, because now it's on the forefront of our mind. We've been through something that almost crushed us. We got back on the other side of it. We figured stuff out, and now we're going into this new year with a whole new mentality where, hey, what used to not even be on our mind is now on the forefront of our minds.
So it's like it's such a very like.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You too. Thank you. You too.
Thank you. It's like, for me, it's like one of those kind of things where it's like, yes, it is, it sucks to like have to deal with that, and it's like, and then if you start to like put it into like that whole thing of like, well, these gigantic corporations that don't fucking pay taxes, and it's like, and then your small business has to pay like a shit ton of taxes for like, all that kind of stuff, then you start to like really get frustrated and all that. But it's like, the reality of it is that it's like, running a business isn't just like, opening up like a fucking store and basically being like, hey, someone's gonna come in here and they're gonna buy stuff. It's like, there's so much to it. And one of the whole things about it is that it's like, paying your taxes on time, filing your taxes, doing all that kind of stuff. And it's like, as like a brown person, like, I really want to like make sure that it's like, I am building like that financial, like, I'm working on that financial like muscle, to like basically strengthen it, into like not make it into like this whole thing where it's like, oh, money is like a taboo, we don't talk about it. It's like, talk about it, talk about like your budget, make a budget, like do all that kind of shit, make it feel uncomfortable where it's like, you're just kind of like, oh damn, and then you're gonna talk about it so much that you're gonna want to freaking make it to where it's like, it's normal for you to talk about. And it's like, money's not a dirty thing. Money is freaking this freedom to be able to go to different things, to experience different things, to do all these different things, and utilize it as a tool, as opposed to like this thing where it's like, oh my god, now we're in this thing. And last thing that I want to say about that is that it's like, that was the only shitty part about 2024. That was the only shitty part. So it's like, I don't have fucking nothing else to say. That was the only fucking shitty part, and so fucking blessed that it was only one shitty fucking thing. And it's like, I'm grateful for that opportunity. And I know you guys always hear, sometimes that there's like, things that it's like, oh shit, that's like a really shitty opportunity. That's a really shitty thing that happened. And it's like, I'm always grateful that these things happen the way that they happen, because it's like, it puts your freaking, it puts everything into perspective where you're like, wow, you only had one shitty thing in 2023. Like, shut up and fucking move on.
Yep.
Okay. So, next question is basically, what are you proud of?
Well, I mean, I am proud of, what I'm most proud of?
Yeah.
I'm definitely most proud of our daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Raising a great kid. She's turning out to be an awesome kid. So I'm proud of that. We're both in her life a lot. She doesn't have these issues with her parents, that they weren't there or they don't love her or anything like that. She will never have those in her mind, and I think that's one of the biggest blessings you can give to a child. So I'm super proud of that, and I'm proud of us for always being there for Ice.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm proud of you 100%, because it's like just seeing you evolve into a textile artist. So it's been really cool to just see the evolution of not only the business Sew Loka, but also of you. And it's just been super cool and inspiring to watch. And I'm proud of just the events that we threw this year. I thought they were all substantive. I thought they were all home runs. We knocked them out of the park. We collaborated with the same people usually each time, and I think they got better and better. We got sponsors. We got all these things we set out for ourselves. We actually did. So I am proud of ourselves for doing all these things while also having, some crazy things looming over our head at the same time, pushing forward, staying focused, and not letting obstacles crush us. Like, I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
How about you?
Okay, so I'm proud of Ice for her first year in middle school, and I really was nervous about it because I was like, oh shit, this is middle school. And I think the first day that we dropped her off, we were like, oh shit, like she hadn't experienced that within like her peers. So I'm really proud of her for just growing and having like so much I'm losing my words right now, but just being like very like excited to like play with a camera and to like, she even started to set goals. And it was really fun to hear her say she wants to be a director. And I was like, oh shit. And so just proud of like who she's becoming, and like how she's just like a very compassionate, like girl. And she's very like always looking out for her friends and always wanting to take care of her friends. And it's really, it's nice to be able to see that in your own kid, where you're like, wow, like this kid sometimes is way too compassionate and all that kind of stuff, and giving. And sometimes you have to be like, hey, slow it down. But it's like, I'm very proud of her for just her first year in middle school, and her just being an awesome kid. But I'm also very proud of you, because it's like, I know that like you've done a lot of things that I know you don't like to say a lot of things, and all that, but it's like, I know that you're really like trying to like be better for yourself, and just and I could see that you're like trying, and that you're trying to have like more faith, and not like spiritual faith, but like just faith in like things that they always like end up working out and all that kind of stuff. And I know that both me and you were totally different in that kind of way, where it's like, I'm just always like, I have faith that everything will be good, and you're like, how the fuck does that, and it's hard to just surrender, and just to basically be like, I'll work out the way that it needs to work out. And it's like, and a lot of people take that as like, you're just not like a fighter, or you're not like a this, or you're not like a that, or whatever. And for me, I'm like, I just know that like the universe is always in my favor, and that shit always works out for me the way that it needs to work out. And and I'm grateful for that. But I know that you've been trying like a lot, that you've been working a lot to to really like try to become like a better version of yourself. And we could totally like tell, and so it's really nice for you for someone to see their partner growing. Like, that's like the best thing that you could do, is because it's like, that that's gonna ultimately benefit you. So I'm really proud of you for just trying when that it's like, it's hard. So
I'm proud of us.
yeah. And I'm very proud of myself. It's like, I I pull fucking rabbits out of the fucking hat all the fucking time, and I don't know how I do a lot of this shit, because it's like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know how I did that, but it's like, I know I have like a really good circle of like people that are around me, that like, they constantly believe in me, and that really helps me, to basically be like, fuck yeah, like, I know I could do it, and I know that I could crush it, and I know that I could do anything that I set my mind to, so I'm proud of like, just being like super resilient, and just always wanting to like keep on trucking. So
yeah
next, you want to do the next one?
yeah,
all right,
let's keep it going.
The next one is how are you feeling emotionally, spiritually, and physically? First, emotionally. How are you feeling emotionally?
Emotionally,
Yeah.
drained.
Okay.
Emotionally, I'm feeling drained. Spiritually, I feel actually more than I did last year. Like you said, I never been a spiritual person. I think when you met me, I don't know how you felt, but I would describe myself as a not a spiritual person when you met me.
Yeah.
My parents didn't raise me religious at all, even though I did go to Lutheran school for 3 years. Randomly, they're not even Lutheran or anything like that, but it was just it was a good school, and I remember 6th to 8th grade, we had religion class, we had choir, You know, that was my only real. We had Bible study, all this stuff, and I that was my first encounter with all that. And I had learned about it, but I never really practiced it in life. You know, because you know a lot of things from my dad were passed down to be like, hey, this is all, none of it's real. Don't believe in it. Science is all that matters. You know, and I understand that point of view, but I don't think that it's very helpful during tough times in your life. You know, it doesn't help you kind of get through things.
Yeah.
You know, so I have been trying to explore more of a spiritual reality for myself, or trying to believe more, have faith more. You know, in just, I don't know in what, but I just know that I don't know what religion is right. I don't know which God is right. I just know that there is something in this universe, that there is rules to this universe. There is things happening beyond my comprehension that I just have to resign to, and just be like, dude, there's something happening and it's beyond my comprehension. It's out there, and I just have to respect it, and I want to be a part of it. I want to understand it, or not even understand it. I just want to just be more in tune.
Yeah.
And that's what I've definitely been working on this year. And when I say I'm emotionally drained, it's just because, you know, it's the end of the year, and I do have a lot of emotions, and like I said, I just want to make sure that I am more, at the end of next year, I feel more fulfilled emotionally when it comes to what I need to achieve personally for myself, you know. So, but I am very hopeful. I am very, very hopeful, and I do have a lot of goals for this new year, and I am planning to make some changes, make some sacrifices to make sure that whatever I put on paper is my goal, that it becomes a reality.
Yeah. How about physically?
Physically, I do. I mean, my God, I have to take better care of myself. It's not just that I'm 40, that I turned 40 this year. It's that I had this freaking horrible tooth thing that I had to get ripped out of my mouth, and it was like such a wake-up call, because I had never been to a dentist, you know, hardly before, or had any kind of cavities or anything. And then suddenly all these things that I have just ignored forever are just bubbling to the top, you know, like my tooth. And I have issues with my stomach, my digestion, my eye, and all these things are coming up to the surface. And it's just, if I was in better physical health or physical shape, or just took better care of myself overall, I wouldn't have to go through all these painful things. And I went through a lot of painful things in 2023 when it comes to my body. So it's like, I need to be better about not just crazy exercising or going to the gym. I'm not going that far, but my God, I just need to be, I need to be more bike rides. I need to be out more, and I just need to take better care of my, you know, whether it's what I eat or what I put in my body, or, you know, my teeth, anything like that. I just have to be more conscious of that, and I can't just feel like I'm just a kid anymore. It's like, yeah, you know, not that age should matter, but, you know, 40 is a time marker in your life, and it's like, okay, you're about halfway through, hopefully, and or maybe not even halfway through. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of years left, and I need to take more maintenance on myself going forward, and that's what I plan to do.
Exactly. So, I am right there on the same page as you are. Emotionally, I feel like really drained, you know, especially with like the passing of like my grandma, and then like right after like my aunt, you know, and these were, you know, very important people in my life. You know, my grandma, she lived with us since I was like 8 years old, you know, and so it was, you know, my grandma was 94, and it doesn't take away the pain that she was older and that she was already going to pass, you know. It doesn't take away, you know, the feeling of like, damn, like this person that like, you know, I know that like that's where, you know, I get a lot of like that fucking pulling fucking rabbits out of the fucking hat. Like my grandma, she fucking made the impossible fucking possible, you know. So it's like, you know, having someone in like this world that you're just like, that you're constantly seeing as like, oh damn, this person like has made things happen time after time after time, and that you come from that, like it just makes it just makes it to where you're like, oh my God, that's my power too, So it's like losing my grandma and then losing my aunt, within like 2 days apart, and like my aunt, she was like such an amazing woman. She worked the fields, and she would work the fields, and then she would go back to Mexico to provide for her family, and just like a, just like a woman that you're just like, damn, she's not afraid of work, and she was just she had amazing work ethic, and it was always really nice to like sit on the couch with like my aunt and just kind of laugh about like just things that like that they were just so insignificant at the time, but it's like being able to have like that family time together, was really nice, so it's like losing both of them within like 2 days of each other was hard, but it's like I know that I get to freaking make them proud, and that they're always gonna be with me, and I like the feeling of like knowing that they're here with me like all the time, and that they're gonna guide me, and that they're gonna protect me, and I take a lot of comfort in that. So but spiritually, I've always, it's like I always wake up with like a prayer, and I've a little different than you, where it's like my I grew up Catholic, and then my parents converted to basically to be Christians, and my dad was actually my dad's a hardcore Christian, and he holds up like a sign at rallies and stuff like that, and so I got that freaking side of like where you're just kind of like seeing it in the other way, where you're like, whoa, where it's like a lot. And so for me, like I am a very spiritual person, but I'm not a religious person. I've just had bad experiences with that, and I have faith. I definitely have faith that there is something that's like bigger than us, and I also have a lot of faith that the universe always is there to freaking it always ends up working out in my favor. So it's like I have a lot of faith in that. Like I've seen it time and time, and there was like a time in my life where like I really felt like there was this aha moment where I was very I was questioning like my faith, and I was like, I'm not a religious person, and so how could I get into like heaven, or how could I think it was like that kind of like question in my mind, and I really told myself, it's not about like being like religious, or it's not about being all these kind of things. What it's about is being a genuinely nice person, and really like being this label. For example, being Christian, it doesn't make you a nice person. Being Catholic, it doesn't make you a nice person. Being whatever religion, it doesn't make you a nice person. What makes you a nice person is like the acts that you do for people when like no one is watching, and that no one is taking tally of like what you're doing. So for me, it is about just being like a genuinely nice person, and living at that like in that kind of realm, where it's like you're nice because you want to be nice, because you're not expecting anything from anyone, and that's just really what you want to be. And for me, like I'm all about setting intentions, and being grateful. And I feel like being grateful has really gotten me like so many amazing opportunities, because it's like when I wake up, the first thing that I do is like I name off all the things that I'm really grateful for, like my family, and like my freaking cat, like the ability that I get to do the things that I want to do, being able to have a studio, my house, those kind of things. And that's how I always start prayer, like just basically being like thankful for these things. And they're not objects, they're people, they're experiences, they're, things like that. They're not materialistic things like, oh, I'm grateful for, my whatever bag or whatever, or those kind of things. It's like, I'm grateful for, these people that are in my life that make it into like, make my life worthwhile, and and so I really started off like that. And so it's like, I feel like, really leaning into prayer and just having faith that everything always ends up working out. Like, and I feel like it's always like really helped me. And like, it's given me like a lot of clarity for things when, things are going good, but when things are going like really bad. So, I would say I'm very spiritual.
Yes, you are.
But physically, I suck. And so physically, and I know that this was like one of the things that like I know for a fact that December 2022 was one of those things where I was like, I want to start doing yoga and I want to start doing all these kind of things, and I never did. And and I'm not proud of that. I want to do more of those things. I want to, really like take the time to basically be like, hey, I'm going to stretch, and I'm going to, do this. And I want to go on walks. Like, I remember I used to walk so much all the time, and I think that that's what really kept my grandma, alive for such a long time, is that she walked for at least a mile a day. When she was really like in her prime, and she started kind of like losing her memory maybe like a year ago. So to be at 93 and to still have like perfectly good memory and to be able to be walking around and to be able to talk and to be able to see, I mean, I got those genes too. So it's a marathon, it's not a race, and I am really wanting to like be more like I really want to well-round myself in the ability of like, hey, you know what, I want to go for a walk and I want to do these things that are going to keep me in like good health, because I love going to the chiropractor, because they've worked miracles on my hands and all that. But at the same time, I also want to be able to feel very strong and and just feel like just healthy and like, and I definitely want to do that. So, yeah. So we got, things that you would want to work on individually and as a couple.
Well, that's the thing. It kind of goes back to that, what I was talking about, is that I think last year we only had kind of couple goals or business goals.
Yeah.
Like I looked at it, I'm back on my sheet of last year, and every single goal I had listed was a Sew Loka goal, which I don't want to go away from that. Like we have a lot of Sew Loka goals this year. We have a lot of things we want to accomplish. Actually, 2024 is going to be a shift for us. That's what we want.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a lot of goal setting to get there. But also we realize that individually we have to set individual goals as well to basically help the other goals actually happen. We have to be better people to actually achieve these business goals. I just have to be a better person. And how do you become a better person? You set individual goals for yourself, and you meet those goals. I want to write more.
Yeah.
This is the year that I write more movie reviews. And that I think that's, if I wrote my short film this year, if I was consistent with writing movie reviews, if I just put myself out there more, networked more, did a podcast where we talked about movies with someone, I have to make that a part of my life. And I'm not trying to do, I feel like all those things are accomplishable in this year.
Yeah.
And those are the things I want to do. I've already started now, but writing that short film script, there's no excuse. I have people that would help me with that. Not writing it, but actually making it.
Yeah.
And that's something that I have to do this year, and I will do. I will probably be at Sew Loka more in 2024 than I was in 2023, because Claudia has a lot of teaching opportunities coming up at 3 different schools. She'll be teaching in the spring. So instead of having the shop be closed during the week, you're going to see me. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be opening the shop during the week. I'm going to be making sales. I'm going to be doing all those things that I previously felt uncomfortable with, or I made some excuses as to why I can't do it. But it's like, come on. This is so grateful to have a business. Why wouldn't I want to be in there every day?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm doing, these goals of, yes, I want to obviously achieve these things individually, but also I want to be in Sew Loka more. We have a deep dive coming up for these educators, that we're going to do in the studio. So just planning that, executing that. We have, we're not going to do 5 events this year, but we will do a big event for World Design Capital in July, and then we will do a sequel to the fashion show next Christmas. So just really taking the time to plan those things out right, and to make sure they're phenomenal events, to make sure that we're paying all of our bills and taxes on time, to make sure that I'm being more of a better partner with Sew Loka, that I'm actually, I'm in there working, and then when I'm in there working, it's not just customer service, but I have things to do in the shop where I'm cutting and I'm just maybe even sewing or just helping in some way, like trying to improve my skills, not saying, oh, I don't know how to do that, so I'm just not going to do that. That's going to be out the window, so, but those individual goals of just basically writing the short film, creating it, doing more movie reviews, doing a podcast talking about movie reviews, those are what I want to do, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And I've always told you, I think I told you just not too long ago, you wrote a review, for the movie that we went to go see for Christmas Day. What's the name of it?
Oh, Poor Things.
Yeah, and you wrote that, and I was like, you need to write more movie reviews, and I've, we've been together for a really long time. You've always been into movies, all that kind of stuff. And for me, I'm like, dude, you need to do this thing, and I know that you're going to do it. Like, I know that you are. And it's like, now you have all these people that are going to hold you accountable, because it's like they heard you say it, but it's also one of those things where it's like, I have always told you, I want you to be happy, and it's like, you being part of like Sew Loka, when the pandemic happened, and that's when you basically hopped on, and we started doing this together. I knew that it was like one of those things where it's like, hey, take this moment to kind of like figure out what you want to do, because it's like the reality of it is that it's like, sewing and the business and stuff like that and all that kind of stuff, that's my passion. It's like I love it. Like, it's very fulfilling for me, and it's like, and I also want you to find something that's going to make you feel that exact same way. So I have a lot of faith that you'll do all those kind of things. And the cool thing is that it's like when you're in the sewing studio, you can be working on writing that film.
Exactly.
So there's so much like time, where it's like, dedicating time to like things that we want to do. It's like when you really want something, you'll dedicate time for it. So
exactly. And when I wrote that Poor Things review, you had said something kind about it, and then also like right after, my dad messaged me, and because I originally sent the review to him, and he's like, dude, this is such an awesome review, why don't you write more reviews? And then I posted on Instagram, and my friend from Portland, Andrew, messaged me and was basically like, dude, I want more of these. He's like, I love reading this. I'd never heard of the Poor Things before, and now I want to watch it, and he's like, I like your kind of cinephile take on things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, why aren't I doing this? I love writing. I love movies.
Yeah, and you're a great writer. Like, I've always told you that you're such a great writer, and it's like, for me, like a lot of the times, I get really frustrated because I'm like, oh, you're just so good at this thing, it's like, why don't you just do this thing, and it's like, for me, like, I can't do that thing, so it's like, and I've tried to do the thing, and I'm like, yeah, that's not, I can't, it's not my strong point, but it's like being able to like see someone that they could do something like that, and you're just kind of like, whoa, it's awesome. And I want you to continue to do it, because it's like, it's great. Like, it's great. And it's like, for me, I'm always like, dude, whatever you want to do, 100%, we're always going to support you with it. So,
Thank you.
we want more of that. We want, it's like, I want you to go to the movies like every week. I want you to go and like get out of your comfort zone. And it's like, a lot of us, like, we do shit that it's like, for me, like, I you know like, I remember the first time that I did like a news segment, and I was like, oh my god, this is like so like, you get so like nervous and you get so anxious and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, and for me, I was like, the thing that really, like, I had to disconnect with the fact that it's like, you're gonna be on TV and everyone's gonna criticize the hell out of you. And it's like, yeah, people are going to like pull me apart and do all that kind of stuff and criticize every word that I say and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, but guess what? It's like, I have to do these things and I have to step out of my comfort zone because I know that that thing will help my business grow. So it's like really getting out of like that, your mind of like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, as opposed to like, yeah, it's fucking scary as fuck, but guess what? Like, we can't just basically be like, yeah, everything's cool and like, nothing. It's like nothing grows unless something is like basically put in a situation where it's like it's uncomfortable. And so it's
100%.
like being uncomfortable, yeah, fucking sucks, but guess what? Fucking being stagnant for the rest of your life fucking sucks even more. So
Exactly.
it is going to be a really great year with like a lot of like amazing things that are going to happen, and it's really getting into like that feeling of like, fuck yeah, like a lot of amazing things are going to happen. Like, I know a lot of amazing things are going to happen, and so I'm excited because it's like, we have a lot of things to look forward to. And it's like, and I really want for you to step into your own, because it's like, you know I there is a lot of people, and I know a lot of people that they're perfectionist, and they're perfectionist, and they're like, I'm a perfectionist, and I'm like, and in my mind I'm like, oh shit, like that's really sad. That's pretty sad, because it's like, if you're a perfectionist, that means that it's like, for me, like, it's one of those kind of things where it's like, you want everything to be perfect, or else you're not going to want to even start at all. And it's like, and that's such a debilitating kind of thing where it's like, it's like, start it. Like, the most beautiful thing that you could ever do is be able to see your progress, to be able to see growth. Like, that's why I love having plants in the house. That's why I love having like a garden, because it's like, you get to see its growth. You get to see what you've put into these things, and for me, like, I have things that I've made over 15 years ago, where it's like, and I'll look at it now and I'm like, this looks like a piece of shit, but it's like, look at how much I've grown, and it's like, put out pieces of fucking shit. Put out fucking pieces of fucking shit. Put out fucking things that you're like, what the fuck is this? I could look back now at videos that we've made for fucking sewing shit and be like, wow, that's fucking cringe as hell. But it's like, guess what? It gives you the opportunity to create something better, because you've already made something that at that time you thought was the greatest thing, but it's like, it's really about like, see the progress of like how much you've actually grown. Because it's like, guess what, if you can't see the progress, you're just gonna always think that you've never actually grown. And the growth part is the best part, because it's like, if we're measuring each other on like how much we grow, right, it's kind of like, this kind of process is kind of like, how when your parents mark the little the dashes on your head when you're growing, and it's like, this year you were like this tall and next year you're this tall or whatever. It's like, being able to see these kind of things, is really like marking that as like your growth, and we all need that. We all need that for ourselves. And it's like, life is too fucking short, and it's like, and guess who you're doing the disservice to? Not to you. It's all to like the people that you could surround yourself with, and to yourself. And it's like, having like these abilities of like, privilege and like amazing education and all that kind of stuff, for you to basically be like, what am I going to do with these things? And like, the cool thing about like This past like January when we were visiting like your family's house, and going through all the books and like your great grandma's like journal and all that kind of stuff, and like seeing all their stuff and like us translating documents and all that kind of stuff, and like seeing it and basically being like, damn, these were like amazing fucking individuals. You have to remember that you come from that. You come from that. That's where you come from. So it's like you have to basically be like, this is who I am. This is who I am as a person, and you're going to continue to fucking get into like who you're slowly becoming. But if you don't focus on those things that you want for yourself, you're going to resent everyone around you.
And that's what I don't want. But it's tonight where it's cool. We're going to spend some time with friends tonight. Friends that we've worked with all throughout the year, and it's going to be a great night of celebration. Everybody please be safe tonight. No reason to fucking do anything crazy, you know. And
are you ending this? Because I didn't even get to say what I was going to fucking...
Oh, well,
for me, like, what was I going to work on individually?
Oh, shit.
I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Okay.
So, I'll do it fast. Individually, and I know, like, this past, it's only been a week since my grandmother has passed, so individually, like, I think that like within this week, like, I really was like, I want to make sure that like I spend more time with family, not just with you and Nice, but my actual like siblings and my mom and all that kind of stuff. So it's like I really want to make more trips to LA to go see my family. I want to do that on like a monthly basis. I want to have more dates with like my friends where it's like I get to go get a coffee and like hang out with people that I like, that I would love to fucking hang out with. I want to have like more open studio times where it's like my friends could come and they could work on something while I'm working on something, and like just having like those creative juices. Like I want to be around more people that are also wanting to be like artistic and creative, and like that we're both ambitious for like things that like make us feel happy and whole. And like I want to do those kind of things. I want to spend more time with like people that I love. My love language is quality time, so it's like me wanting to spend time with people is really, really important to me, and it'll really help me feel more connected to people. And I want to continue to reinforce relationships with people that I love, and I feel like I have a lot of friends here in San Diego that I would love to go and have like a lunch with. Like I've never had lunch with a friend ever, so it's like I want to be able to do those kind of things. I want to be able to have like a lunch date. I want to be able to freaking basically be like, hey, do you want to go and have dinner with me with a friend and not feel bad about it? Like I want to do things where it's like I feel like I could count on like my friends, and that I could have like this community that like I've built that like will come will show up for me, like not just when I have events, but when like I just basically want to sit there and get to know them more, so it's like that's one of the things that I really, really want to do, that will make me feel a little bit more fulfilled.
And you will do that.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to have a coffee date, just let me know, because I'm kind of I'm open to it.
And you're fun to have coffee with.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about you. Like, you always talk about ideas and stuff. You're not like a gossiper or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, you're more just like, hey, what are we gonna do? What can we plan? Like, you're a visionary.
Yeah. And it's like, and that's like, that's why I love being around people, because then I'm like, oh shit, like we could do like really cool things, or like we could plan this thing, or we could do this thing. And and for me, like I really want to like support more of my friends' visions and their dreams, and like how can I be more of service to people, and because it's like I want to do that. Like I want to feel like I'm an asset to people, and that I'm here to to help people. Like that's my whole thing. So I'm excited for that, because I'm really looking forward to like carving out more time for me, because it's like the reality of it is that my when people think about a vacation, or like just having time for themselves. Like they think, oh, I want to go to like this crazy vacation. You know what I want to do? I want to freaking repot my plants. I want to repot my plants. I want to fucking smoke some weed. I want to repot my plants. And I want to fucking play music all day, make a fucking sandwich, make fucking dinner. I want to do those things. Those things will make me feel so good. And they're simple things. They don't require a lot of fucking, I'm a very simple person. I am. And it's like, and that is like how my heart gets full. There's not with like, oh, I want to go on this trip. Like, it's like, how many times have I told you, I'm like, fuck, we have to go to the airport. We have to fucking do this shit. We have to, and I get so anxious with that kind of stuff. And it's like, yes, I want to travel more. I want to have these experiences with my daughter and stuff like that. But it's like, for me, the simple things of like, I want to fucking get my hands fucking dirty with dirt. And I want to be able to like, while I'm doing that, there's food cooking. And I get to be around my family and I get to be outside. Like that is fulfilling to me. So it's like I need to understand that will make me feel whole and happy, and go into it as opposed to like, oh, what would make me feel whole and happy? If I went on this vacation, or if I fucking did these things that everyone's telling me to do. Like they're not. That's the reality of it. They're not going to make me feel that way. So I need to listen to what I know will make me feel good and that I want to do.
And then do it.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, babe.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you too.
Happy New Year to everyone listening.
Yes. Be safe. Please don't drink and drive. So yeah, don't do that. Get an Uber, call a friend, do all that kind of stuff, but please do not drink and drive. And just have fun. Hug all your relatives. Tell people that you love them now. Give them all their flowers now. And enjoy the last day of 2023.
And to close it out, we just want to say we appreciate you. If you've stopped by the shop, if you've shared any of our posts, if you've purchased something, if you've just even come and said hi.
Yes.
Like, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Every single person. You are the reason why we do all this, and we appreciate you, and we want you to have a beautiful new year. We want you to have a really, really great year. Yes. It's not just us. We want you to have a great year.
Exactly. So thank you. It means so much that, we have this much support and that people, always constantly show up for us. So you guys are the reason for the season.
Hey, it rhymed.
I know.
All right. Later, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.